just for the sake of speaking to the podcast, giving the podcast its time. The podcast is two things for me. I mean, I don't know what it, like you said, I honestly don't know what it is. In fact, that's why honestly, actually I know where I want it to go sometimes, but that changes too. And like, and we kind of just decide, it's like we both have to kind of find the middle point where everything works for both of us, sure. But I think that's going to keep changing too. I think we're going to, like you said, I mean, the more iterations we do, the more we're going to just know. It's not something I can plan. I'm not, when I say plan, I'm just talking about content. And even that is just to get used to more or less, not even content, it's the structure of the content, how we portray it. Why? It's not to entertain, it's not to appease anyone. It's like, how do I take all the value that I have here and inject as much as I can of it into whomever, and basically create the most value and give the most value in the biggest, or how can I say it? Like, can you describe this better than I can? The most, like, just all in one shot.
Yeah.
Or whatever, just power, up the power.
Yeah, I think of it as something that fits with me is it's dry runs, practice, and preparation to maximize value delivery.
Yeah, maximize value. I guess simply put, maximize value, optimize. I like the word optimize too, as far as like optimize the amount of energy it takes us to produce this. And so what that means is the less amount of energy we use to produce this, the more amount of energy we are transmitting through the message, or that sounds weird, through whatever. I mean, the value, like the value has nothing to do with production energy. And so I'm trying, the more we get used to this, the less time we have to spend messing about or preparing, because we're just going to come in already warm or hot. And that means we're just all energy all the time. We're Super Saiyan level 4. We spend our time in the, what was the dome called again?
Hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah, we spent our time in the hyperbolic
time chamber.
And here we are. We spent a month in there and time passed away. That doesn't work. We'd probably die. Anyway, we've come out of the hyperbolic chamber.
Okay, well, I'll say it like this. This reminds me of an idea that I've shared and I've thought about recently, which is the cost of time, actually. And that actually links to iterations, because I had this thought experiment where, for example, if let's say I rent out this apartment, right? Or I think even better is I rent out a studio to record videos. If I rent out that studio and then I make no videos that month, my thought process is that is the most expensive studio anyone has ever rented in zero value. But if I rent out that studio and then I do 1,000 videos in 1 month, then it is like the cheapest studio anyone has ever rented. It doesn't matter how much it costs. And that's what I link to iterations. And that's also what I link to hyperbolic time chamber. I wish to really maximize that. I wish to not figure out so much which is most important. That's the way I think. Iterate, and my thought is like we can get really good really fast, and the faster the better, because that's the cheapest thing.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you said. Unfortunately, I go down the business route, so I'm always thinking ROI, return on investment. But I think technically what you said, that's how it works. Like 1,000 using so like you said, like if I spend $1,000 on something and I don't use it, then I've wasted $1,000. That's it. It's just I might as well burn $1,000.
Exactly.
But if I spend $1,000 on something and I use it a lot, it doesn't matter what it is or how I use it. Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it has, like for me, it still has to be goal oriented. So it has to be something that I know will lead me to somewhere, or it creates a product that I know that I'm going to sell, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like that's kind of still in the same ballpark. And so, but in time, as you know, is like there's no more precious commodity for me. So the faster we do this, I'm happy to hear that. Like I want to do 1,000 episodes a day if it were physically possible. So
yeah, I'm just almost making an equation, tying time and value, and how the more actions you can put into the time, the more you maximize the value of that time.
Okay, I can't tell if you're noticing the flaw in that or if you are just not happy the way you put it. Because I'm starting to think like it's not really necessarily just like for me, maybe for you, like you mean what you say, but I also feel like you could do, let's say you do something wrong 1,000 times, you're not really getting better at it if you're not learning. If let's just say theoretically you're able to also not learn from the failures. Like I just feel like you're just, that'd be like what I mean is I burn my hand on the stove and then I just like, well, I'm gonna do that again. Oh, I'm gonna do it. And I do that 1,000 times. Can you tell me what I've learned?
See, I don't believe that that's possible. I believe that that person will eventually say, I don't want to touch the stove anymore.
If that's not possible, why do so many people for let's say 200x days a year go to a job that they can't stand, thinking that their life's somehow going to be better someday, and they're just going to learn from having done that. And then next thing you know, they're 65, they're retired, and they go, wow, I really wish I would have done all these things, but I'm too old, I can't. Are they not similar?
Their life is good enough.
Was it? Or are they just, like just too scared to leave the comfort zone?
Yeah, their fear is more powerful than their imagination.
Anyway, I guess that kind of doesn't really align with what we were talking about, but I believe the same thing.